Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today is the monthly webinar for WebFortis. We are covering the topics of marketing lists and campaigns. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction of WebFortis to start with. I'm going to go over a little bit of CRM, the core basics, and then we'll jump into the training. We'll go into marketing lists and campaigns as is stated that's what we're going to be talking about, and then we'll open it up for discussion and questions. So a little bit about WebFortis. We have been in business since 1996. We are located all over the West Coast. We have offices in Seattle and Walnut Creek, Santa Rosa, Sacramento, and Los Angeles. Our CEO has written the 3 books that are shown here, each of which are Amazon and Barnes & Noble's bestsellers. And we can take care of all of your dynamic CRM needs as far as customizations, implementations, importation, training, anything that you need that has to do with dynamic CRM, we can take care of it. So let's go ahead and jump into the training session now. So right now I am in my Microsoft Dynamics CRM. I will be using this in Outlook, Microsoft Outlook. We have our entire CRM over here on the left-hand side here. And I'm going to go ahead and go directly into the marketing section. And from here, I'd be able to access my leads, accounts, and contacts as I would from workplace, sales, service. And those are really the core records of your CRM system. So let's go ahead and go into marketing lists. And I'm going to start by creating a marketing list. And the scenario I'm going to use today is we are creating a campaign for a customer loyalty program, and we want to send them thank you letters and emails 10% off of product A. So the first thing that we want to do is create a marketing list of these customers who have been with us for over, let's say, 6 months. So let's go ahead and create a new marketing list. I'm going to go ahead and give it the name of customer loyalty. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and hit contact. One thing to note about marketing lists is you can only have them be accounts, contacts, and leads. Something else to note about marketing lists is if you want all of the contacts that are within an account, you're going to want to select account or contact, excuse me. And the reason for that is by clicking the member type, we are asking what we want the list of members in the marketing list to be. And I want a list of all of the contacts that are in my that are in an account. So I'm going to go ahead and select contact. I'm going to make it dynamic, and the difference between static and dynamic is static. I'm going to choose each person who is going to come in to this marketing list. And the list of people will not change unless I add people or remove them. Dynamic, on the other hand, I'm going to set criteria that is going to either move people in the marketing list or out of the marketing list. So in this case, I'm going to set the criteria to be a record that has been created in X amount of months. As people reach that limit, that X amount of months, then they will be added to the marketing list. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And when I hit save, I'm going to activate the top ribbon bar here and the sidebar over here. From here, I'm going to go ahead and hit Manage Members. If we were to hit Static to begin with, when I hit Manage Members, I would be able to either look people up by using search. I would either be able to manage members by coming into this type of criteria, the query here. I'd be able to remove people with the query, but with dynamic marketing lists, this is the only way that you can add and subtract people. So the first thing is we're going to look for contacts. I can also use a saved view if I have one that I would like to use. In this case, I'm going to create it from scratch. So the first thing I want to do is I want the status to be active. I only want to send this to active contacts. So this up here is going to be all of the fields that are in the contact record. So let's go ahead and hit status. We're going to say equals, and I'll go ahead and select active. So now I'm asking it to return active contacts. The next thing I'm going to do is where it says select, I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And so as I said, the top up here is going to be all of the fields that are in the contact record. If we scroll down even further, we go into the related records. And I am going to choose parent customer account. So what that's going to do is that's going to look for all contacts whose accounts fit a certain criteria. So now if I go ahead and hit the select button here, this is going to give us all of the fields that are in the account form. So I want all accounts that the created on date, and now I'm going to go ahead and select my qualifier. So we could do this any that have been created in the last 3 weeks, any that have been created in that are older than X months, which is what I'm going to choose. We can also choose that just contain data that are in the last X amount of fiscal years, etc. Let's go ahead and select older than X months. And in this case, let's say 6. So what I am asking this to return is any contact record that is active that has a parent customer account that has been created older than 6 months. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit find and see what this is going to return. Okay, it returned a few contacts that I have in my CRM, and because I know vaguely what I want it to return, I feel happy with it. So we're going to go ahead now and hit use query. So now if I go to marketing list members, I can now view the members that are in here. So now that I've created the marketing list and I'm happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and hit save and close. And the next thing we're going to do is go into campaigns. And I want to create a whole new campaign that has to do with the customer loyalty program. So I'm going to go ahead and select new at the top. I'm going to call this customer loyalty program. We could give it a status reason. Let's say that this is ready to launch. The type we'll go ahead and say is other. Currency, our expected response is probably not going to be 100%, but we're pretty hopeful since these are repeat customers. I'm going to go ahead and say this is 80% response. I can now select a associated price list. And for those of you who are not familiar with price lists allow you to have different pricings for different customers. For instance, if you have customers in in London who would have a different price than those who are in the United States. Or perhaps you have military pricing as opposed to, or student pricing as opposed to normal pricing, or bulk pricing as opposed to your everyday pricing. So that's the benefit of price lists. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hit my default price list and click OK. I'm going to go ahead and put in what the offer is. All right, so now, and really the benefit of putting in what the offer is if you have a lot of people coming in and viewing your campaigns, everyone's on the same page, it's out there of what this is. So our proposed begin date, let's propose it for a week from now. And the proposed end date is just not going to be, so we're just going to leave that blank. When it actually comes time to launch this campaign, we can change the begin date, the actual begin date. Again, we can put in a description if we want to fill everyone in on what this campaign is about. We also have the financials here, which will be estimated from the planning activities and the campaign activities, which I'll go over later. So to activate and go into the planning activities and the campaign activities, the first thing that we are going to do is hit save. And if you ever find yourself where the ribbon and the sidebar are grayed out, it means you need to save it. So let's go ahead and hit save. That's going to activate the ribbon and the sidebar. And now I can associate the marketing list that we had created to this campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and go into target marketing lists. And I'm going to hit add existing marketing list since we had just created it. And let's go and select the customer loyalty dynamic marketing list. I could hit add. If I wanted to select more, I could select them and hit add and create them. Also, if I realize that there is a different marketing list that I need to create, I could go ahead and select new, and that's going to bring up a brand new marketing list form, which I would then be able to create a marketing list on the fly. So I'm going to go ahead and select OK. I'm going to go ahead and select OK again. Oops, I didn't mean to add that one, so I'm going to go ahead and select it and remove it. And just as a side note, this X is to remove, it is not to delete. So even though I removed that marketing list, it will still exist in my CRM. So now we are ready to add planning activities and campaign activities. And the difference between planning activities and campaign activities is planning activities are going to be anything that is away from your customers. So for instance, buying stamps, ordering pens, booking the caterer, etc. Whereas campaign activities are going to be direct interactions with your customers. So the first thing we're going to do is go into planning activities. Let's create one of these first. I'm going to go to add new activity. And maybe one thing we want to do is we want to send out a letter, and we want to include our business cards or maybe our pens. So perhaps I need to order more pens. So let's go ahead and create a task. And let's call this order pens. And then I can leave a note of what I need to do to order these pens. So call XYZ company to order more pens. Their number is, etc. So at this point, I could go ahead and change the owner if I want someone else to do this. I can also hit save. And hit assign. So I can assign this to another person in my CRM. Click here. I'm the only person, so unfortunately there's not a whole lot we could do there. So at this point, maybe I need to order stamps too. So instead of hitting save and close, I'm going to go ahead and hit save and new. And we'll call this order stamps. And we'll go ahead and hit save and close. And the reason why you want to hit save and close as opposed to mark complete, save and close means that it's something that needs to happen. It has not yet been done, but it needs to be done. So once it is done, the person can select it and hit mark complete, either opening it, or they could go ahead and hit mark complete. The status completed or canceled. Go ahead and say it's completed, and it's going to disappear from here. But we can still access the closed activities by changing the view by clicking up here and going to closed activities. And so now we can see that the pins were ordered, and we can see when they were ordered. Moving on, now we need to send emails and letters to our customers that we have added in the marketing list. So I'm going to go to campaign activities. I'm going to go to add new campaign activity. And the first thing I want to do is send an email. And I may want, just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and just create a normal email, but do note that you can create an email via mail merge and letter via mail merge as well. So I'm going to go ahead and create an email. I want this to be content distribution. We'll give this a subject. And this is not the email subject. This is just the subject that will show up in your CRM. So email about customer retention or customer loyalty. And again, I might give a description. Email needs to be sent. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So I can continue to edit this, but at this point, no email is being sent. Oh, something else to note is the budget. Emails generally don't have a budget to them, maybe if you use a third party, but we do, perhaps if this was, we selected letter instead, we may have the stamps, we may have the stock, we may have the envelopes, we may have all kinds of different costs associated with it. So we would be able to say each one is, we have a budget of $5 for each, and then we could go to actual cost and say it's actually only going to cost us $3.75 per. Email is not exactly the best example, but hopefully you get the idea. So at this point, we could go ahead and distribute the campaign activity. And since I made changes, I need to save it again. All right, so now let's go ahead and distribute the campaign activity. And I can build out the email right here. If we had created email via mail merge, we would then bring the information from CRM and it will go into Word mail merge. We could fill this out, subject, customer loyalty, and it also note that it's going to bring in the offer that I had created in the campaign area. Also, we could use a template if we have various templates that are in our CRM. So at this point, I could go ahead and hit distribute. It could be sent on the behalf of the owners of the records. So if John Smith owns one of the records, it would be sent from his email, or it would say that it was sent from his email and that he had sent the email. Alternatively, I can own the email messages, or I can assign them to someone else. And if we hit OK, it's going to go ahead and send out the emails. And now we can close the campaign activity unless we would like to keep this open to send more emails. Oh, and since we're here, email messages created is over here, so we could go ahead and view all of the email messages that I had just sent out. Note that every single person who is in the marketing list has been added here. Since these are fake email addresses, it's not actually going to be sent. We can also view the failures. And we can also view the targeted marketing list that was associated with it. So moving on, let's go to campaign responses. Here you would be able to make note of every single person who has responded to this campaign. So let's say I get a phone call. I'm going to go ahead and hit campaign response, and this is also available if you go into any of your activities in your CRM. Activities meaning where you would find your email, your phone calls, your faxes, etc. Campaign response is a option there. So here we have the campaign response. It's going to auto put in the parent campaign since I created it from the campaign itself. We have a response code, so if they're interested, not interested, do not send marketing materials, and error, let's in this case say interested. We could put in a promotion code if they have given us a promotion code. Subject wants to know more. I can put in the details of what we had talked about. The owner automatically is going to be, just like any record in CRM, by default it is the person who is creating the record. So priority, whether it's high, low, normal. Now let's go ahead and select the customer. So let's say that this is, I'm going to change it from accounts to contacts since it is an individual from a account that is contacting me. And let's say that it's Kat who is giving us a call. So we'll go ahead and press OK. And also note, when I put Kat in here, it's also going to show up under her company as well. So we could, if this is a brand new customer, someone who is not yet in our CRM, we do have the ability to fill out the company name, last name, first name, phone number, email, fax, etc. And I'll show you exactly why you would want to do that in a second. And the details, she gave us a phone call. It was received on today. So let's go ahead and save it, and that's going to activate the ribbon and the sidebar. And the reason why you would want to fill out these fields over here if this is a brand new customer is we have the Convert Campaign Response button up at the top. And by clicking that, we could go ahead and close the response and convert it into a new lead, convert to an existing lead, create record for a new customer. So basically, if this was since this is a customer loyalty program, probably not the best example, but let's say this is first-time customers get 10% off. If someone was to respond, we could go ahead and create a new lead from it. We can not only make note of the response, the campaign response, but we can also create a new lead from here as well. So if I go ahead and hit save and close, I now have record of all of the campaign responses in Associated. So now I'm able to make note of the ROI of this campaign and if it's really worth going through and doing. And we're running out of time, so I'm going to open it up for questions at this point. Let me go ahead and pull up my contact information before I get there. And one other thing is every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I do run a open CRM training, which just allows you to come in and ask any questions you have. So if you find yourself using your CRM system and questions arise, I'm here every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and it's the same link and phone number that you use to access this this webinar. And I'm also recording this webinar too, so I'll go ahead and send you guys a link and put it on YouTube as well. So I have a question here. Let me read it real quick. It's a good question. If I send an email on behalf of someone else and then the recipient replies, who will get the reply? It will come, the person who you are doing it on their behalf will get the reply because the email address in the from field will be their email address. So when they hit reply, the system only knows that they were on that list. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave up this contact information, and I hope to see you all every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Thank you.